Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to American Truck Simulator, and welcome to Phoenix, Arizona. So we got another Volvo. This is the Aradeth Volvo. I was on the fence about it, but I went ahead and got it, and you can see we got a 3-axle, which I don't think is available in the SCS. Other than that, the biggest difference, well, I mean, there's some subtle differences in as far as the model, and I believe the year is a little bit different as well. But the big difference is the Aradeth has a lot more slots, a lot more room for lights, the third axle, obviously, different trim packages. Very cool model. Also kind of a legendary model, like the RJO, like the Madster. It's just been around forever. It's got really good support. I also threw some beacons on it. On the front up high, on the front low, and on the back high. So yeah, it's a very cool truck. And it was about 200 grand. We had 100 approximately, so I borrowed 100 to get this. And I'm going to redeem myself, yo, after what happened yesterday. The incident, just as we were getting to the yard. I'm going to redeem myself. So we're down here to haul another heavy cargo. We're going to haul the massive tech part to Sierra Vista. It's a shorter trip, so hopefully be a shorter video. But we'll haul another special transport, and we'll haul it with the, there we go, and we'll haul it with the Aradeth, just to kind of compare between the Aradeth and the SCS Volvo. All right, truck's tanks were refilled, driving hours restored. Yes, they were. There we go. Very suspect, very shady under that cover. Something's going on. All right, little cutscene. Love it. Checking things out. This guy, making sure it's all good. Sure, close enough. You ready? Here we go. I don't know how to turn this message off. I don't know how many times it's going to show it if it turns itself off. But same message. Rear vehicle moves first. Front vehicle moves, and then it's our turn. All right, so there is that. Lights on. Lights on. Beacons on. Beacons are on. Brake is off. First gear, where are we going? Where are we going? I think I see him out there. Right, here we go. And it's 182 miles. It says it's going to take 4 hours game time, which is about 20 minutes. Well, I take that back. It's 16 to 20 minutes moving at our regular pace, 60, 70 miles an hour. We're going to be going a lot slower with this thing. It's almost 100,000 pounds, and Arizona has some hills in it. So, maybe more than 16 to 20 minutes. We'll see. We'll see when we get going. And once again, we're rolling at night. It is midnight, and it says we're going to get in about 5 a.m. So hopefully we'll have the sunrise, but in the meantime, we'll have all these beacon lights at night, which I think is a lot of fun. You know, you can't necessarily see as well. Whatever. I still like it. Right. This thing is wide, man. I'm just going to stick right to this center stripe and hope for the best. Actually, yeah, I'm going to cheat out a little bit to the right. Man, this truck, when I first got this thing installed, oh dear. When I first got this thing installed, when I first got in it, it was rocking like a ship upon a windswept ocean. Never seen anything like it. It was just like rocking side to side slowly. Big, long, like wide arcs left to right. But only in cab. When I went third person, the truck was not moving on the suspension. It was only when I was in cab. So I went back into my mod folder, and I was running, would still like to be running the freaking 64 physics mod, which I like. And when I turned that off, it was fine. Now, to be fair, let's talk a little bit about mods. To be fair, I was running the freaking 64 mod up fairly high toward the top of my load order. And it needs to be up there to overwrite any other like supplemental physics that may be in a mod, right? To make it all work okay. And that's the thing that's tricky about mod order is, you know, every mod maker makes their mod differently. So like some trucks have physics, some don't. If you've got physics, like in this case, I assume this truck has physics because a physics mod was messing with it. So the easiest thing to do is then put this above that physics mod. And the reason I turned it off rather than moving it up, one reason was so I could check and see if that was the problem. But another reason was, if this truck does have a physics mod in it, and because of all the slots and all the lights and everything, and I move it up high above all my other mods, right? So it's above that physics mod, which is high to begin with. If I do that, then it's possible that there are things in this mod that will now overwrite things in other mods that I don't want overwritten. And a classic example of that is engines. You know, if a mod has engines in it, and you put it up high above your engine packs, sometimes those engine packs will disappear for other trucks because they're just like, what do you call it? In the hierarchical order, what do you call it when something is below something else? Anyway, you get what I'm saying. So by making the, oh, this thing is heavy. I love it. There's a gear. There's a gear. So you see what I'm saying? By making the mod itself a higher priority, everything that is contained in that mod also gets a higher priority, and in some cases gets a higher priority than other things that you don't want overwritten. So I know I put a 600 horsepower Cummins motor in this, and we've got a couple engine packs that have 600 horsepower Cummins motors, same model number and everything, like the same engine code. And we don't have, I remember this mod having fantastic sound, much more aggressive than the sound that I'm hearing right now. So it's possible that we're hearing the sound from one of our 600 horsepower Cummins motors in an engine pack rather than the one that is in the Aradeth mod, because we've got engine packs above it in the mod order. And the same is true of anything, lights, physics, whatever. So it can be kind of a challenge when you're living that mod life to get everything in the right order. So, I mean, on a basic level, so it works at all, and then like take it up a notch and to try to get everything to work properly. There have been times when, you know, I had a truck mod or something that I had down low and I had it set up or whatever, and then I don't know, something changed, the game patched, I disabled another mod or something, and all of a sudden you see a bunch of new parts for it that were just being sort of oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Not overwritten, but yeah, overwritten works. They were being overwritten by another mod. So it's that mod life. And on one level, I think modders, well, I mean, some modders collaborate, cooperate. That's cool. Other modders, I think, just don't. Not in a, you know, not in a bad way or anything. They just don't collaborate. And then I think other modders, it's like they're almost competitive. And again, not in a bad way, you know. My mod is better than your mod. My truck can beat up your truck. But I guess what I'm getting at is modders don't always take into consideration other mods. You see it a lot in Farm Sim. And at that point you have to pick. And that's really hard for me because man, it's just the principle of it. Like, there's mods I have that I really don't even use in Farm Sim. But I have to keep them working. Like, no matter what I have to do to make them cooperate with other mods, it's like I just hate mod conflict that I can't resolve. It makes no sense, even for mods that I don't use. Like I said, it's just, I don't know, ego, OCD, something. But it's like, no, I'll make this work. I'll get this to work. So I'll play with my mod order in Truck Sim for hours until I get everything to work simultaneously. Most of the times I can get it to work out. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's just not possible. But For now, we had to turn off Freaking 64, and I'll move things around a little bit and see if we can get that back on. But in the meantime, everything's working okay. And this is a great mod, and it does have. Yesterday, when we were in the SCS Volvo, I looked around over my shoulder, and it does have the little kitchenette back there, the little breakfast nook, whatever you want to call it. This has that as well, and it does have the overhead bunk, so it is rigged with that big sleeper like the SCS is, which I guess is native to the real truck in real life, so anybody who's modding it is going to incorporate that as well. Changing lane maneuver. Okay, I'm ready. Where are we going? Now, one thing when we were leaving when I built this truck, I knew I wanted to haul another special transport with it. There is no oversized load banner for the front available, at least that I found. And I left the flags off. They just didn't look right. But I did put on all those fancy pants beacons. So yeah, man, I didn't think I would have any Volvos at all. I definitely didn't think I would have two Volvos, particularly when they're like almost identical. But whatever. We had the money, may as well spend it on something. And, you know, I've been thinking as this game continues to expand, and you know it will, my bet is Texas is the next DLC. Either Texas or the Rocky Mountain states. They could go Washington and then have the entire West Coast and start to move east from there. But I think Washington is too similar to Oregon. You know? Now, having said that, New Mexico is pretty similar to Arizona, and those were two DLCs, so who knows? Wait. Was Arizona a DLC? I'm trying to think back. I know California and Nevada were native, like they were base map. But was Arizona a DLC? I know New Mexico was. I can't remember off the top of my head if Arizona was. Huh. Okay. I'm starting to lose my memory. But you see what I'm saying? Like, having a Washington DLC would be very similar to Oregon. So I don't know if they would do that. Texas, I think, it does a couple things. It's different. Texas is, there's a lot of very varied terrain in Texas. And to be fair, there's varied terrain in Washington. It's just all the same as Oregon. So Texas is going to be different than New Mexico, Arizona, etc. At least the eastern parts of it. And that moves us closer to the East Coast, because from there, and again, if this was me, if I was SCS, you do Texas. Texas is massive. It takes us halfway across the Gulf Coast. From there, you just need to do Mississippi, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida, right? And now that's the rest of the Gulf Coast, and now you're going up the East Coast. Because from there, and again, if I were SCS, then I would go Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia. That'd be my next DLC. And then the DLC after that would be Pennsylvania, New York, New England, right? And now you've got more or less the whole, like, outline of the United States. Minus Washington, of course. And from there you fill it in. So you do your Rocky Mountain states, you do your Midwest states, and you do your Rust Belt states. You know? And that's it. That's the whole country. That being said, you know, those are big places. Like, Texas itself is big. And then if you wanted to go from Louisiana to Florida and get the whole Gulf Coast, that's really big too. So this is what happened last time. We're trying to get over, and that truck in our wing mirror is preventing our rear escort from getting over, and we're running out of road. Yeah, so this is going to go exactly like it did last time. Yeah, this is what happened last time. So Our escort is blocked back there. Yeah, I think I can see our escort behind the truck that's behind us. So, oh no, we're moving again. Okay, are we rolling? Fantastic. This part, the fix, did not occur when we got jammed up. So, all right, we're moving again. Okay, very cool. So, so yeah, Texas is big, and then I say, you know, Mississippi to Florida, Louisiana to Florida, like, oh, you know, it's no big deal, but that's a huge chunk of the United States. So I don't know. We'll see. And honestly, I don't know how sales of ATS are compared to ETS, and how the sales of the DLC are, and if it's even worth it for SCS. I assume it is. I don't know. But those are really big chunks of land to represent. A lot of roads on them too. Things get really dense on the East Coast. But I would love to see New York City. I mean, and obviously it wouldn't be New York City. Like, it would be like San Francisco. San Francisco is not San Francisco. LA is not LA. They're representations of those cities. But London is not London. You know, Paris isn't Paris. You can't be in and out of Paris in, you know, 2 or 3 turns like you can in Truck Sim. But that's fine. And, you know, we've talked about that if the game were 100% realistic, nobody would play it. Nobody's going to sit in traffic for 2.5 hours to get out of LA. I don't care how realistic you play. That's just crazy. So yeah, I'm curious. Or they could throw me a loop. I mean, I assume it would be contiguous, right? Like, it would have to be, the next DLC would have to be either Washington, Rocky Mountain States, or Texas. Because they couldn't do the East Coast, there'd be no connecting road. So, we'll see. We'll see. And that should happen, what, like next year sometime? And we're still waiting on Beyond the Baltic Sea. Not in a bad way. Like, when I say we're still waiting, I don't mean I'm upset or anything. It'll be done when it's done. But I guess I'm saying it takes a while for these things, because I thought, you know, the 1.32 patches for both games dropped fairly close together, and then Oregon was released, and I assume Beyond the Baltic Sea would be right after, and we're still waiting on that. So, and there's a number of possibilities for that. One is that when they started getting feedback on 1.32 and when they started getting crash reports, they realized that they would need to do some things differently, and they're revising Beyond the Baltic Sea right now instead of releasing it as it was. I'm sure it was ready or close to ready when they released 1.32, but maybe they had to make some significant changes. I don't know. That's one possibility. Another possibility is it's just behind schedule. You know, and I guess a third possibility is it's not behind schedule at all, and it was always intended to be released in December or January or something. Don't know. But it's fine. I mean, and I said this yesterday in the ATS video. There are so many DLCs and so many new games and so many mods being released. It really is difficult for me to keep track of everything, because not this Volvo, not the Aradeth Volvo, but the SCS Volvo and the Special Transport, I didn't know either one of them were on the horizon. And the only reason I found them is because I had, for some reason, decided to get the Aradeth Volvo, and I honestly can't even remember why. It's not my kind of truck. I don't know what had me thinking, yeah, let's do it. But, yeah, did it. I did it. We're going to pretend I had that lift axle down the whole time, hauling a 100,000-pound trailer. We're going to pretend I didn't forget to drop that when we left the yard. I wouldn't do that. But it is nice to see that there's an indicator on the instrument panel. That's always nice. Yeah, man, I'm digging this truck. Really liking it. I think I might change the interior out. I'm never a fan of a wood grain. It's just not my jam. This guy needs to get by. So does that guy. And I do feel like we're going up a bit of a hill here. Fighting it a little bit. Right. So not too far to go. Although, yeah, I mean, we're already at 20 minutes and we've got another probably 10 to go. So 16 to 20 minutes. I guess that applies when you're going 60 or 70 miles an hour, but not 30. Which is fine. I mean, these special transport jobs, I don't know, man. I rarely do them in ETS. I don't know. I think part of it is I prefer longer deliveries, but you can't, the special transport jobs can't be that long because the routes have to be so selective as far as bridges and tunnels and toll booths and that sort of thing. But also, I don't know if I don't want to say I'd get bored, but I don't know if I would, I don't know how my mental health would deal with doing this for an hour or two. Right, getting close now. Talking to my buddy about hauling big cargoes like this, big loads like this, and having the pilot vehicles and closing roads and stuff. He said they've closed whole bridges for him to haul things, and you just feel like the king of the world, man. You feel like some kind of presidential convoy. Motorcade, yo. The streets are all blocked, and it's just you. I'm the king of the world, yo. Good to be king. They say it is. I don't know. They also say heavy is the head that wears the crown. So, you know, more money, more problems. And we will be able to drop off in daylight, which is nice. I guess we drove all night, yeah, because it was just right around sunset when we picked up. Although, I'll check the replay. I think these heavy cargo jobs take a little bit longer to load than the others. I want to say the others load up in about an hour. And I think these take a little bit longer. Find the right gear. Now, I think the transmission that we have in here actually represents an automatic transmission. So if we wanted to be realistic, I guess every time we were in this truck, we would go into setup and select an automatic shift pattern, right? Instead of the semi-auto that I have right now. I mean, I call it semi-auto. I have to shift manually, but we don't need to use the clutch. Full manual, I tend to think of that more like wheel and pedals and shifter. Oh dear. Getting interesting. Man, I don't want to blow it. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh. What do I do here? I don't want to take those signs out. All right, let's do this. Let's wait. Yep, let's do that. Let's wait until there's a gap. Yeah. Just drive in the middle. Perfect. I'm going to deliver this job with no contact, no accidents. Whoops. Now, oh, there it goes. I could see the police vehicle on the left side of the intersection, and I didn't know if they were supposed to be blocking traffic. There we go. I saw a mod to make longer green lights, and then I saw a disclaimer on it that said, but this also gives you longer red lights, and it can mess everything up because the traffic builds up too much. So based on that, my understanding is the green lights are so short in this sim to keep the red lights short as well, because they can't make the lights like they can't make long greens for you and then long reds for the AI. Makes sense? No, long greens for you. You know what I'm trying to say. They can't just make the lights green for the player. It has to be for all the traffic, and if they make everything long, then it bottlenecks everything. So I know the greens are a little bit short, but I guess there's a reason for that. Maybe? Right. 1 mile. This is when it all goes tits up on me. Every time. Not gonna happen today. Uh-huh. Now what do we do? Oh dear, we're losing our escort. Huh. Can I fit this thing? Well, right. Home stretch. What do we got? A couple 100 meters to go. Now, what message are we looking at? Let me try this one. Okay. Wait. No, man. Okay, so it's seeing. Turn these off. That's the one I'm looking for. Okay. I knew we could get there. I think we did it. I think we did it. Okay. That works. Didn't make a lot of money. Not a very profitable job, but we did it. There we go, folks. Thanks for stopping back to check out The Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of American Truck Simulator. This is the Aradeth Volvo VNL and the Special Transport DLC. We'll see you next time. Take care now.